The story begins with an ordinary boy named Dave, whom no one knew at school. He had only two friends, Todd and Marty. Dave did not like any girl, but still he liked a girl named Katie very much. Dave was also fond of reading comic books. One day he was talking with his friends that till date no one has become a superhero in real life. Marty said that to become a superhero you need either superpowers or a lot of money. Well, then into the cafe comes a boy named Chris, the spoiled son of Frank, the city's mafia don. Dave noticed that he was very rich, but still always walked alone. That's why Dave decided to extend a hand of friendship to him. But Chris's bodyguard scolded him and sent him away. After this, when Dave and his friends came out, some people from the street robbed them. Fed up with all this, Dave decides to fight against evil himself. He ordered a green diving suit from the internet and tied 2 poles to the back. After this, he started training so that he could become a superhero and help the weak people. On the other hand, Mafia boss Frank and his goons are interrogating a man named Trey at their base. Actually, Frank had sent him to sell drugs to a Russian gang, but Trey said that during the deal, suddenly a man dressed as Batman came and attacked me and stole all the drugs. But the Russian gang had told a different story to Frank. He said that Trey himself took possession of all the drugs and gave them some drugs, that too at a higher price. Frank no longer believed Trey's story, so he asked one of his men, Joe, to kill him. Next we see a man named Damon who used to be a cop. At this time he was teaching self-defense to his 11-year-old daughter Mindy. He made Mindy wear a bulletproof jacket and shot her and then explained to her that it is very important to protect herself. On the other hand, Dave was still working hard to become a superhero, but he was very afraid of jumping from buildings. Then one day he saw the same goons who had robbed him. Those goons were trying to rob someone's car. Then Dave gathered courage, wore his suit and attacked them. But in the end the goons stabbed him and ran away. After this, suddenly a vehicle ran him over. Well, later some people took him to the hospital in an ambulance and got him treated. A few days later, Joe informs Frank that a man named Trey has again sold drugs to the Russian gang. Frank then realized that the Russian gang had told him a false story. He got angry and asked Joe to bring back the drugs he had sent. The next day Joe catches the Russian boss and he says yes, Trey is still selling us drugs. But Joe killed him by putting him in a big microwave and cooking him right there. On the other hand, after Dave's car accident, metal plates were inserted in his body and due to the injury to his nerves, his pain tolerance had increased manifold. Well, when Dave went back to school, suddenly Katie talked to him and asked him on a date. Hearing this, Dave was shocked and he told all this to his friends. Then Marty said that all this happened because word had spread throughout the school that Dave was gay. Hearing this, Dave was stunned and still did not say anything because he wanted to get closer to Katie. Additionally, he was also working hard to become a superhero and had named himself Kick-Ass. Now his hard work was bearing fruit. At the same time, the people present there made a video of their fight and uploaded it on YouTube. One day when Dave was sitting in a restaurant with Katie, Katie said that a boy named Rasul had been harassing her for a long time. Then Dave got angry and told Katie to ask Kick-Ass for help. Eventually KT agreed, and then in the night Kick-Ass came to threaten Rasul and his goons. He asked Rasul to stay away from KT, but the goons beat him badly. Then at the last moment, Mindy arrived there in the guise of Hit Girl and saved Kick-Ass's life. He said he was also a superhero and then called his father, who came dressed as Big Daddy. After this, all 3 of them together faced the goons, and finally after eliminating everyone, Mindy stole all the gang's money and escaped through the roof with her father. Kick-Ass also followed him, but he was afraid of heights. Eventually Dave returned home and started crying because he was not a real superhero like Hit Girl and Big Daddy. Well, later Hit Girl and Big Daddy come to meet him in his room and praise his bravery and say that he too can become a good superhero. Big Daddy said that if he wants to be a part of his team, he will have to train hard. Also, if he ever needs help, he can upload a special kind of photo so that Big Daddy and Hit Girl will get his hint. After his departure, Dave became excited to become a superhero again and started working hard. Here, Joe shows Frank a photo of the day his drug stash was stolen. Joe said that one of his men took this photo before he died. Big Daddy's back was in the picture, but Joe and Frank only knew one superhero, and that was Kick-Ass. So they felt that this was definitely his work. On the other hand, Big Daddy and Hit Girl have kidnapped Frank's man Cody. They obtained information about Frank's drug mafia by torturing him and then finally eliminated him. We then see that a cop named Marcus has come to search Damon's house, where he finds a lot of weapons. It is then revealed that both Damon and Frank used to be policemen, but Frank later framed Damon in a false case and sent him to jail. This caused Damon's wife to go into depression, which led to her death. Damon then begins his training in secret so he can take revenge on Frank. When he was released from jail, he made Mindy his partner and started training her. On the other hand, Gangster Frank saw a man disguised as Kick-Ass, and in a fit of rage, he beat him to death. But later he realized that it was not the real Kick-Ass and was shocked. Here, his son Chris was secretly listening to everything, after which he came inside and made a new plan. He said that he would become a superhero named Red Mist like Kick-Ass. He will then catch one of Frank's men dealing drugs and turn him in to the police. After this, he will also win the trust of Kick-Ass and join his team, and then somehow he will reach Frank. Soon Chris executed this plan, and he also became famous in the media. After this, he went to the top page of Kick-Ass and talked to her, and after a few days both of them met at a place. Red Mist tells Kick-Ass that he also wants to help people by joining his team. Kick-Ace was very happy to see Red Mist's shiny car, and then both of them reached Frank's warehouse. But as soon as they reached there, they saw that there was a huge fire in the warehouse. They immediately went inside, but by then everyone was dead. Red Mist picked up a teddy bear from there and came out of the warehouse just in time. After this, both the superheroes went their separate ways. Meanwhile, Frank was watching all this from a distance, so he was very worried about his son. But soon Chris came to the office and showed everyone the footage of the warehouse. Actually, he had installed a camera in the teddy bear. It is then revealed that Big Daddy actually killed all the men in the warehouse and set it on fire. Then Frank realized that his real enemy was not Kick-Ass but Big Daddy. Frank tells Chris to set a trap for Big Daddy using Kick-Ass. But on the other hand, Dave had given up hope of becoming a superhero after the warehouse accident. But one night he noticed that Red Mist was sending him a lot of emails asking for his help. Eventually Dave changes his mind and once again wears the kick suit and goes to meet Red Mist. Red Mist tells him that he is being blamed for the deaths of the people who died in the warehouse. He said that now they will have to prove the truth by catching the real culprits, and for this they will need Big Daddy's help. Then Kick-Ass intercepted his words and gave that special signal so that Big Daddy would come to his help. Damon and Mindy soon noticed this and invite Dave to meet them at their base. After this, Red Mist and Kick-Ass set out for their base, and Frank's men also follow them. When both of them reached there, Big Daddy became a little suspicious of Red Mist, but he allowed both of them inside. But this was his biggest mistake because Red Mist suddenly shot Hit Girl. Then suddenly Frank's men barge in and knock Big Daddy and Kick-Ass unconscious. On the other hand, the news spread on Kick-Ace's page that today Kick-Ace will show his real face to everyone, and everyone was keeping an eye on him when suddenly a live video started playing there, in which Frank's goons have captured Big Daddy and Kick-Ace had kept. The goons beat him very badly and then sprinkled kerosene oil on Big Daddy. But at the last moment Hit Girl stood up. Actually, he was wearing a bulletproof jacket, that is why his life was saved. He immediately switched off the lights of the entire base and then wearing his night vision goggles attacked all the goons. But in this commotion, a goon set his father on fire. Big Daddy was burning badly, but still he kept telling his daughter techniques to face the goons. After finally killing all the goons, Hit Girl extinguished the fire, but by then it was too late as Big Daddy's last hour had come. Hit Girl bid them a tearful goodbye and later released Kick-Ass. Then Kick-Ass calmed him down by taking him home. After this, both of them together decided to avenge Damon's death. Mindy arrives at Frank's office disguised as a schoolgirl. No one recognized his face, so the goons allowed him inside. But suddenly Mindy puts a gun in the goon's mouth and shoots him. After this, he killed everyone one by one. Then Mindy puts on her Hit Girl costume and heads to Frank's room. On the way, he very bravely killed all the goons, but in the end he ran out of bullets and the goons surrounded him from all sides. Ultimately, she was about to die at their hands when at the last moment Kick-Ass came to save her wearing a jetpack. Besides, he also had 2 machine guns mounted on his shoulders, with the help of which he destroyed the goons present there. Here, Frank and Chris hear gunshots from their office, so they realize that their goons managed to kill Kick-Ass and Big Daddy. But suddenly when Kick-Ass and Hit Girl enter the office, they are left stuck there. The two factions soon began a fierce battle, with Frank fighting Hit Girl and Kick-Ass Chris. Frank was very powerful and was about to defeat Hit Girl when Kick-Ass fired a missile at him from behind. Due to this, Frank went flying out the window and his bomb exploded in the air. Here, Chris picked up the sword and ran towards them. But by then it was too late because Kick-Ass had flown away on his jetpack with Hit Girl. Eventually, Kick-Ass dropped her off at a safe place and they shook hands. A few days later, we see that Damon's old police partner, Marcus, has taken up the responsibility of looking after Mindy. Meanwhile, Red Mist creates his new villain suit so he can take revenge on Kick-Ass and Hit Girl. So if you had the chance, which superhero would you want to be? Please tell in comments. See you in the next video.